Hello, friends. We are walking today at Aurora campus, Denver Metropolitan State College. For short, it's called Metro. I went to college here for almost a year. Back in 1990, 91. Today we're going to visit St. Elizabeth's Catholic Church. St. Elizabeth was Saint Hungry. This church is named after her. I'm going to tell you the story about what happened at this church. Took us a while to get parking. It's not easy on this campus, especially parking in my big truck. But we did it. Now we're walking with all the college kids. Here we go. A 115 years ago, on February 23rd, 1908, Father Leo Henrik was delivering early morning Mass at this beautiful Catholic church, St. Elizabeth of Hungary. St. Elizabeth was a princess of Thuringia, the Kingdom of Hungary, daughter of the King of Hungary, Andrew II, and Mother Gertrude of Moravia, her lineage going back to Vladimir the Great of the Kievan Rus. St. Elizabeth of Hungary was born on July 7th, 1207. Living in Hungary until age 4, then taken to central Germany to be betrothed to Louis IV. Raised by the court, learning the local culture and language. In 1221, at 14 years old, she married Louis, who was enthroned as Duke. In 1223, the Franciscan friars arrived, and a teenage Elizabeth learned about the ideals of Francis of Assisi, founder of the Franciscans, later canonized as a saint. In 1226, floods, famine, and plague hit Thuringia. Elizabeth assumed control of home and territory, giving away robes and ornaments to the poor. In 1227, Louis died of a fever en route to join the Sixth Crusade, September 11th, 1227, in Otranto, Italy, just before their daughter's birth. "He is dead, he is dead. It is to me as if the whole world died today," Elizabeth said upon hearing of her husband's death. Louis's brother Henry Rasp assumed regency until Elizabeth's eldest son could take over, 1222 to 1241. Elizabeth left court after bitter disputes with Henry to move to what is now Frankfurt, where she built a hospital and cared for the sick, taking on vows similar to a nun. St. Elizabeth is best known for her miracle of roses. While taking bread to the poor in secret, she was asked to reveal what was hidden under her cloak. As she opened her garment, a vision of white and red roses could be seen, which proved God's protection hand was at work. At a young 24 years old, Elizabeth became ill and passed away. Soon at her grave, miracles were reported to happen in the church of the hospital, especially those of healing Examinations of such stories and testimonies proved to be sufficient reason for quick canonization by Pope Gregory IX on May 24th, 1235. Her body lays in a magnificent golden shrine in Marburg, Germany. St. Elizabeth of Hungary Parish here in Denver was built in 1870, a mission church to the Cathedral Basilica of the Immaculate Conception, where we visited St. Julia Greeley. The second oldest Catholic church to be reconstructed into a bigger church in 1898, made of lava stone from Castle Rock, Colorado. He was born Joseph Heinrichs on August 15, 1867, of Ostrich, Germany. He began studying with the Franciscan province of St. Elizabeth of Hungary. While as under persecution, he fled to St. Bonaventure Friary in Paterson, New Jersey, taking his final vows on December 8, 1890, and ordained as Father Leo July 26, 1891. Fire devastated the area as well as the church, where he solicited donations from the lumber camps to rebuild. When an outbreak of smallpox spread through the towns, Father Leo tended the sick and dying. He was at St. Elizabeth's Parish for a few months when he had planned a visit to Germany, wanting to see his family after 21 years. He postponed the trip till after June 7, 1908, so he could give First Communion to a class of 70 children. At the Young Ladies' Sodality meeting, remarking how sweet it is to die at the feet of Mary. In his 5th month at the church, normally Father Leo celebrated Sunday Mass at 8 a.m., but on February 23, 1908, he had a meeting that day, and so he switched with the priest, Wollston Workman, to take the 6 a.m. working man's Mass. Attending the Mass was a 50-year-old Alia Giuseppe, an unemployed shoemaker who had recently immigrated from Ovolis, Sicily. He took communion at the altar rail, then flung the host back at the priest and drew from his coat a revolver. The altar boy saw the gun and tried to warn the priest, but Alia opened fire and shot the priest in the chest. As Father Leo began to falter, he attempted to retrieve the fallen host and collapsed mortally wounded on the step of the altar of Our Lady and passed away minutes later, exclaiming, my God," placing the ciborium on the Our Lady's altar. To have been reported, he died smiling. Given last rites by Father Wollston Workman, he stated, I would have been killed and he would be alive right now. There is one way to solve this affair, and I can see, and that is that God chose the better man. Alia attempted to flee, but E.B. Quigley, a conductor for the Denver-Rio Grande Railroad, caught him. Then patrolman Daniel Cronin, an off-duty police officer, placed him under arrest, and he was jailed. Alia said he had a grudge against priests, that they were against the working man, boasting to be an anarchist, but said to have a mental disorder. Alia was tried and convicted, sentenced to hang within weeks of the crime. His execution carried out at Colorado State Penitentiary in Canyon City, Colorado. Father Leo was found to have his upper arms and wrists wrapped in leather straps, each strap studded with rows of pointed hooks piercing the skin. His skin calloused and scarred with no signs of infection, secretly practicing an extreme form of mortification, perhaps to help him master his quick temper. None of his confreres had any idea of his penances. When the friars entered his room after his death, they found he slept on a wooden door. Thousands of mourners attended the priest's viewing at St. Elizabeth's. Colorado Governor Henry Augustus Buchtel attended along with Denver Mayor Robert Speer, including a 70-member choir. After the funeral, the procession began at Curtis and 10th Street to Union Station, where Father Leo's body left Denver on the 2:30 p.m. train to New Jersey. In Erkelenz, Germany, a street was named in Father Leo's Heinrich's honor. The process of beatification has been opened in Rome since 1938, and his tomb in Totowa, the Holy Sepulchre Roman Catholic Cemetery, remains a veneration. Father Leo's sainthood efforts began almost immediately. At the time of his death, Julia Greeley was attending Sacred Heart Church in Five Points. Two Denver-bred saints in the city at the same time is irresistibly intriguing.
Over here is our human center where we have stuff and offices.
Oh, cool.
And that's the sacristy. The priest gets ready. And there's a restroom.
Oops. Sorry. Oh, look where I'm going.
There, that's the Eucharist. That's Jesus Christ. Close together, steep. And that's the stairs to the bell. Sightings over there.
Oh,
Yeah, trades at one time.
haunted?
Yeah. Sightings is more of haunting is more of a demonic presence.
Oh,
Whereas the sightings is more of a
yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm sure he is. He loved this church.
Yeah. Funny story. Trey. So he was fixing the bells. He was up there. And he saw kind of see the top of the roof. The church or down here, but outside it's steep.
Yeah.
So you have to have some rope and they have to walk in. And so Trey was up there and all of a sudden he heard footsteps. He was like, what? And it sounded like a kid's footsteps. He was like, that's weird. He's like, Father Leo? And the footsteps stopped. Okay, Father Leo, I'm gonna skip in a certain pattern, and if that's you, try and copy it. And so he skipped in that pattern, and then it ended up being exactly the same as his.
Wow.
And he's like, whoa.
That's pretty cool.
And he's like, why are you here? What's going on? And so then he ended up walking on the roof, and he ended up going to this one spot. And he checked it out. Yeah. Yes, yeah, he ended up finding this beam that was like disconnected from these other people. Okay, so he brought in an inspector, a building inspector, and came out and saw that. He's like, wow, I don't know how you found this, but within like a few more years, this whole side of the roof would have collapsed and fell apart. Whoa, great.
So maybe Father Leo had him go up there to show him that. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
I wish Trey was here today because he has a whole bunch of other stories. He's been here a lot longer than I have. Careful when you go downstairs. Two people have already kind of tripped.
I just wasn't watching where I was going. I didn't see the step.
Yeah, but that's cool that you're interested in all this.
Well, I came to this college for journalism. We are in Aurora. Now the Aurora Higher Education Center opened in 1976, home to University of Denver, Metropolitan State University of Denver, and Community College of Denver. Established in 1858 by a small group of miners led by the Russell brothers, former residents of Aurora, Georgia, meaning gold, where gold was found at the junction of the nearby South Platte River and Cherry Creek. Houses and buildings began to spring up, and Aurora and the Cherry Creek town merged, where Denver began in April 1860. People began to spread out, and Aurora stayed small and quaint, mainly Hispanic communities till the 1960s. In 1965, a devastating flood hit Aurora when the South Platte River overspilled its banks after a foot of rain. Urban redevelopment plans was put in place to build the university and colleges. Father Peter Garcia of St. Cajuns and angry residents resisted, but they were displaced to other urban communities, like nearby Lincoln Park. To be preserved, the Tivoli Brewery, Emmanuel Episcopal Church, St. Elizabeth's, and the housing of 9th Street Historic Park. Corner grocery store. An excellent example of turn-of-the-century residential commercial architecture. Provided living quarters for renters on the second floor. Was constructed on the site of an earlier two-story frame house, also owned by the Guzmans. The house was moved to the back of the lot when the store was built. Family owned till 1965. It is said to have an earthquake-proof sandstone foundation. The building was renovated with the help of the Guzman family. This was a home for boys in the Malone School. Home for the boys. Galloway Island, Malone established copper milling. And this one too. Let's see what this one says. The last restored on the block. Typical of the style, blacksmith Thomas Young owned the house until 1916, when he died and passed the title to his wife Matilda. The couple had a daughter, Mamie, who was a piano teacher. She was apparently considered quite daring when she was seen by a neighbor riding a bicycle in a divided skirt.
Schultz.
William F. Schultz, bookkeeper, part of the Tivoli Union Brewing Company.
Milwaukee Brewing. A bookkeeper for the Milwaukee Brewing, later part of the Tivoli Union Brewing Company, built this house. According to the building permit, 2176, dated November 28, 1890. The cost of construction was $3,700. The structure was replaced a 4-room frame house originally on the site. Denver City Councilman Eugene Madden, prospector of Madden Wet Goods, once lived in 1047. His saloon was part of the center of rural politics from 1900 until his death in 1941. The house specialty was cinnamon candy apples made from a family recipe.
Oh, wow. How cute.
Right bar in front of the variation of the Italian styles marked by tall bay windows to capture early
The
on.
Wheeler Griebling House. Lewis Kane, a clerk at Apple and Company dry goods store for 35 years, and a cabinet maker for Denver Furniture and Carpet Company. The Gardner House and the Witt House next door was probably built for speculation by Jeremiah Gardner, a carpenter. He lived in both houses until he died in 1895. It has special touches because the carpenter lived here. Kate Ann Witt became owner of this house in 1898 and held the title until her death in 1937. Sold ice for Colorado Ice and Storage, and later became a partner in the livery firm Millard and Witt. Charles Roger and Betsy Davis built this house as a wedding present for their daughter Annie Kate and Stephen Knight, bookkeeper. Later became chairman of the board of the Colorado Milling and Elevator Company. Then the house was owned by Edward Grimes, the president of the J. Washer Western Iron and Metal Yard.
The addition was made to the assistance of the being fair. House in the block.
Oldest house on this block was built on the edge of the prairie by Dr. William Smedley, a Quaker dentist and teacher. called a villa. Oscar and Cordelia Roop until 1903. He drove an ox train from Kansas. He pioneered the cattle trade and managed the city stockyards from 1896 to 1899. He also owned the Bull's Head Corral near the site of the Oxford Hotel from 1904 until 1915. It was owned by Peter T. Augustin, who owned a saloon on 15th Street. The roof-lined iron cresting, which has been reproduced. Iron fences, however, are original. Henry Cole, a prominent figure on 9th Street, built this house as an investment. Then it was owned by Frank P. Wilson, who worked for the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad for 35 years and organized annual balls for the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers, number 186. He owned it until 1913. He also owned the Smedley House where he lived with his wife, Queen, for 35 years.
Pardon me?
Freaking scrolling. He's so cute. He has a little orange tummy. Okay. Morris Dolan's career in the flour milling business had just begun when he built this house, a classic cottage. He was a bookkeeper for Hungarian flour mills.
What? No! Oh my god, no! I have a dog who wants to eat it. No, he wouldn't. Yeah, my dog will chase after it and will bite it. Mom, he's right behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let me see your phone.
Just give me a little.
Here's some walnuts.
Aww.
Do you want to feed it, just toss it to it, or do you want to...
I want to see if he'll come
Up to
over.
her. It came up to us the first time.
Come here. Come here, baby. Hi. Come on. Come on. Come on. It's okay.
Do a wave motion with your hand.
Yeah?
When you do it, it's mimicking what they do with their tails as a way of telling each other that they're friends.
Looky. Okay. Give it a short thing.
Yep, you're doing the tail thing.
Come on. Come on. He knows he's being filmed. The Davis house was built on a commanding corner site. The villa has a porch with fine carpenter Gothic details. Charles Roger Davis was a descendant of influential Welsh family. Brought his wife Betsy and 14-year-old daughter west from Illinois in 1870. Young Annie Kate was appalled when the first connecting Denver with the east stopped on the Colorado Plains so that passengers could shoot buffalo near the tracks. Davis was a veteran in the flour milling business. He bought one of the first mills in Colorado, which later became the Eagle Flour Mill. The Aurora Town Site and 9th Street Historic Park. I love the big giant rocks.